Hey there, students. It's Mr. Showalter. What I wanted to do was just walk you through a little bit about OneNote is and what it does for you as a student. OneNote is a Microsoft product that's kind of like having a room full of file cabinets, which sounds extra exciting. But what it does is it's a place for you to collaborate with your teachers. It's a place for you to collaborate with your fellow students. And it's a place to house your notes and your homework and things like that, to organize documents, organize files, organize notes. But it's a giant room. OneNote itself is representative of a giant file room full of file cabinets. Whereas we have these individual file cabinets that represent different notebooks for you. Right now, if you're in my Algebra 1A class, you've got a notebook that we set up for you, a classroom notebook, a class notebook that represents your Algebra 1A Period 9 class. That would represent a whole file cabinet. Within that file cabinet, we've got different hanging file folders. Now, what you'll see is a collaborative space that all of us can edit, all of us can put information in, all of us can have a conversation through digitally on the OneNote platform. There's a content library that only I can edit as your teacher, or only your teachers can edit, but you have access to and you can see anything in there. That space, teacher only, is really just for me as a teacher. And then you have a private hanging folder that's just for you. I have a student named Abigail, and that student has access to their hanging folder. Now, within these hanging folders, there's different permissions, and people have different access to them, different keys, whether they can actually get into them or not. Okay. Within those hanging file folders, we have these manila tabbed folders. Those manila tab folders are really akin to what we have here, really akin to different organizational pieces that you or your teacher can organize for you. In my particular class, my student Christian happens to have 3 tabs. One that's called Unit 1 Class Notebook, one that's called Unit 1 Homework, one that's called Unit 2 Class Notes, and we're going to organize these together. And this is very similar to these manila tabbed folders. Inside those manila tabbed folders, we can have pages and pages of notes, fantastic things you've recorded to share with yourself, with your teacher, and in your class. For instance, Christian in my class has this page right here that'll show up on the far right-hand side, just like on the screen over here. You can click the page, and it's labeled Review 1.2 and 1.4, Order of Operations and Distributive Property. Now, within that page that is within that tab, Unit 1 Homework, that is our in-class work and our homework that these students are going to go home with that I actually did yesterday. So it's a way to organize your notes, organize your thoughts, share spaces with your student and your fellow classmates. One more piece, talking about the permissions. Again, collaboration space is a hanging folder that has those manila files in it that we can put pages in, that you can put pages in. Collaborative space is a space that all of us within that course have access to. Content library is just a space where you can get information, you can copy and paste it into your private space. Now, Abigail, this hanging folder that's labeled Abigail, that is her personal content library. That is her personal space where she can edit and change. Now, one thing in particular about that, I as the teacher also have access to Abigail's hanging file for this course. And what that means is we can collaborate together privately, just her and I, in terms of what she's writing in there. And I can give her feedback and make comments on it and things like that. Now, big picture-wise, in terms of why this OneNote is fantastic for you as a student and why we really want you to use it if you have the opportunity to in your class, is it gives you and your teacher the opportunity to collaborate and interact and both share files and share information, regardless of whether you happen to be in the same room in the same class. We can share information, we can share documents, we can share ideas, we can collaborate, we can all work together, no matter where we are in the world, as long as we have access to Wi-Fi. And that's why this is super powerful for y'all. And I think ultimately we'll all learn a lot more as a result of being able to collaborate on a platform like OneNote. Thanks so much for listening. Pretty soon you'll get another video that talks about how you're actually to set it up, and then one how you're actually able to use it as a student. Thanks so much again, and hashtag keep moving forward.